When you think of health insurance, you think of protection. But in the US, it's more like a gamble, one you often lose. From denying essential equipment and opting for cheaper alternatives that harm the patient's health, to a woman being hit with a $22,000 bill after her leg is amputated despite paying premiums, to a worse case of a denied claim for lung cancer, with the insurance company misclassifying it as a less severe illness, leading to the patient losing their life and leaving the family with $160,000 in medical debt. These are just a few examples of a broken system that prioritizes profit over people's lives. A deeper look into the system reveals even more alarming practices, such as those alleged in a class action lawsuit against United Healthcare. The suit claims the company used a deeply flawed AI program with a 90% error rate to deny care to senior patients. Despite knowing the program's inaccuracies, United Healthcare allegedly continued to rely on it, banking on the fact that only about 0.2% of patients would appeal their denials. This reliance on flawed technology shows how saving money often takes priority over providing proper care. One tragic example of how these insurance issues can have serious consequences is the case of Stephanie Sina. At 39 years old and working as an adjunct professor at Villanova University, Stephanie faced a life-threatening blood infection, requiring the urgent amputation of half her foot. The surgeon demanded $1,920 upfront to proceed, but her insurance plan, purchased months earlier in premiums, refused to cover the surgery. Unbeknownst to her, the plan wasn't real health insurance, it was an accident and sickness indemnity plan, offering limited payouts for specific services. Her surgery wasn't on the list. With less than 24 hours to gather the funds, Stephanie was left scrambling. She eventually received a refund after the surgery, had her contract with the health insurance terminated, and was left with $22,000 in medical debt. Another heartbreaking story comes from Brianna, who shared her experience on X. Her mother's doctor diagnosed her with lung cancer, but the insurance company denied the claim, insisting for years that it was valley fever instead. Tragically, her mother lost her life to lung cancer, leaving the family with $160,000 in crushing medical debt. Medical debt is one of the leading causes of bankruptcy in the United States, and for many people, it's a financial crisis they never saw coming. The result is that a lot of people, especially those living paycheck to paycheck, are forced to file for bankruptcy due to overwhelming medical expenses. Many individuals are already stretched thin by everyday expenses, and with the rising cost of living and unexpected health emergencies, a single medical event can push them over the edge. Reports show that nearly 66% of bankruptcies are linked to medical debt, often caused by medical bills that people simply can't afford, even if they have insurance. As many individuals live paycheck to paycheck, the gap between having enough money for everyday expenses and the ability to pay for life-saving treatments becomes tragically narrow. The burden of medical debt leaves them with no choice but to turn to bankruptcy as a way out. For those in the lowest income bracket, healthcare costs can take up to 35% of their earnings. This financial strain becomes even more burdensome if they choose to forgo insurance, as a medical emergency can quickly spiral into significant debt. One such example is Melissa Welch Latronica, who was jailed over an unpaid $3,000 ambulance bill. When she suffered a mild heart attack while 8 months pregnant, she was billed for the ambulance ride. Another example is Shantae Eichner, a woman who was airlifted to the emergency room after a car accident. Despite the life-saving nature of the procedure, she was hit with an astounding $70,000 bill for the helicopter ride. It's not just emergencies that can lead to huge medical bills. Giving birth in the US can also be extremely expensive. On average, a vaginal delivery costs between $10,000 and $12,000, while a cesarean section can range from $15,000 to $20,000. For those without insurance, these costs can skyrocket, sometimes surpassing $30,000. These figures often don't include prenatal or postnatal care, adding even more financial strain. This heavy burden can push families already struggling paycheck to paycheck into deep debt and long-term financial instability. Many people end up with junk insurance plans that seem affordable, but offer little real protection. These plans often have low premiums, but high deductibles, leaving policyholders to pay large amounts out of pocket when they need care. Worse, they frequently deny claims or exclude essential coverage like hospital stays or surgeries. People in this country are literally begging on GoFundMe just to save their loved ones. When insurance refuses to cover necessary treatments or the bills pile up too high, families have no choice but to share their painful stories online and ask for help. We're talking about cancer patients, people with life-threatening conditions, all pleading for strangers to step in and save them. And it's not just rare, it's happening every day. A mother with a sick child, a father battling cancer, someone who just needs a surgery to survive. They all end up in the same desperate situation. turning to social media to ask for money that should be covered by insurance. They share heart-wrenching stories, hoping for a miracle, while the system that's supposed to protect them fails. Imagine being pushed to the edge, knowing that without the help of strangers, your loved one might not make it. All because the system put profits ahead of people's lives. That's the harsh reality for so many. United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson's passing sparked a surprising wave of reactions online. When the company posted a tribute to him on Facebook, over 40,000 people reacted with laughing emojis instead of sympathy. This wasn't just a random outburst. It feels like a boiling point for public frustration. It's not about one person, it's about a system that people are exhausted and angry with. It's harsh, yes, but it's a loud, undeniable message. People are fed up, and their frustration is spilling out in ways that can't be ignored.